March 23rd, 2020. Communication.
was trying to get online there. Yeah, slowly.
How old are these people?
They're probably all ages.
Annalise Bruce, Stacy Lang, one of those.
Is your camera on? Is his camera on
No,
or off, babe?
mine is off.
We want it off.
I mean,
Someone's in there.
You're on it. You're up, honey. What are you gonna do?
No. I mean, you want to hear.
Do you know Claudia's parents' numbers?
Someone down there. Who is that? Who's that?
I can't.
Yeah, like I said, get all those guys and bring them to Corn Tower. I'm training you two. What? No way! Yeah.
It's so loud.
I told Corn I'm not fighting any stupid aliens, and he went through the roof. I thought he was gonna kill me. Sounds like they don't have a choice. You do, or at least I didn't. But do what you want. I'm out of here. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Don't wish Goku got the life of the Dragon Ball to do the same thing.
I'm getting my notebook.
Something about special training in other worlds or something like that. Some lady named Bob is supposed to come by and tell you the rest. Who's doing what? No idea. Hey, look, he's coming back.
I don't know. It looks like a different air card to me.
Sure contact. I'm sure the person. I
I know. I'm just trying to. Most of the guys are in your group.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You have to answer on the chat for now,
Yes.
unless I haven't muted you.
Just say yes. It's just like go-to meeting that we listen to.
Okay, so I have
I don't know any of
unmuted all of you guys for right now.
them.
I'm going to mute you guys in a little bit. That way we don't have 30 people talking in the background as we're trying to go over this. So everyone has been able to find where the chat is. It looks like it. We will wait for a few more minutes for everyone to get in, and then we will start. Okay, so we will get started. As more people come in, then they can catch up. So first, welcome. This is my first time actually doing it on this part. I'm usually doing off of Skype, so welcome to Zoom. Hopefully it works out for all of us. If anybody for some reason does get cut off, just make sure that you're able to get back on. If you need me, my phone is next to me, and if you need to call, text, or whatever that is to get back on as quickly as possible, you could do so. If you want to email it, you could do that. shouldn't have any problems unless you guys are in a bad area right now. Can everybody see the actual screen that you see right now, the green screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
You could talk because I have muted you. It'll be a mess. Okay.
Are you muted or no? Are you talking now?
You're all unmuted right now. I can hear everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're good. Okay. So
Christian
I'm
Vaccaro's here.
muting you.
Oh.
I'm muting you so that I
Man,
can
fun for me.
talk and I don't have to hear you guys in the background. So we all hopefully have something to write with. Notebook. If you're taking notes on the computer, then very savvy of you. But other than that, I just want to welcome you. So my name is Jeff Tackett. Those of you that do not know me, you're not going to see me right now because I didn't feel like letting you see me. It's up to you guys if you want to see each other. I can see all of you guys. As we go through this in the communication, the way that I've designed this is I figure that we're going to be possibly doing a lot of these with our dead time. And so the first one is a way of me being able to get introduced to you guys so you guys have a way of filling it out. There's a way that I will put you guys into separate rooms in a little while where you'll be in your own groups in a separate room and you'll have to discuss amongst yourselves certain things that I'll ask you to find out. And at that point in time, you'll come back and then we'll discuss it. So the more I feel that works, then the more I could get dynamic with the next one. So this is kind of to make sure everything works out well and how many rooms I need and how many people could go in the room and not become chaos. So that'll happen as I'll go through it and we'll explain that. So what we're going to do today, so the communication just for the goalkeepers. When I do unlock, you guys are actually going to be able to unmute yourself. So if for some reason I'm going too fast, or if you want to go back, or you want something, you need something, then you can unmute yourself and you can say, hold on. You could actually even raise your hand on the little chat and the chat will let me see that you have a question. So either way, so that way, again, you're able to do it on your own. When we go through the communication, obviously this is a topic, it's kind of the aha moment that, we need to talk, we need to have communication. So I thought this would be perfect for us to get to see it on the screen, be able to talk about it, and then put us into a little small group to see if we could discuss scenarios and make sure we teach each other and hopefully get something out of this. As we go through it, we start with what we go with is the 4 pillars of goalkeeping. So those of you that have coaches and listen to your coaches, you'll hear coaches speak, field player coaches as well. We have the 4 pillars of soccer in general. So we have the technical, the tactical, the physical, and the mental. So we put that into a goalkeeping set where these are our building blocks for the game, right? So this is the key components that we work on so that at any point in time, if any one of those 4 pillars aren't as strong in the game, maybe become weaker at some point, then we should be able to rely on the other 3, the other 2, and hopefully never just the 1. So for example, let's say on Thursday you come down with an ankle injury, so you have a game Saturday, so physically your ankle's not going to be up to par, you're not going to be able to sprint as quickly, you're not going to be able to jump as high, you're not going to be able to explode from diving. So technically, you might have a little bit of a problem maybe to your left side where you're not going to be able to dive as far or as quick or be able to push off as high. And so you're going to have to really rely on the tactical aspect of your game and the mental aspect of your game. So as we go through all these presentations, this is a lot of tactics. So we're going to try to take you through as much of a goalkeeper and the tactical demand of it as possible so that you hopefully can have a sense that it's more to our position than just saving shots. And then why we're here, obviously, is the communication part of it, right? So we put it all together. It's kind of like we say that's the roof with, no pun intended, but it oversees us, right? So if we don't communicate, then this is what causes the major leaks in our roof. This is what causes the major breakdowns in our game. And eventually this is what comes crashing down and pretty much will suffer. And if we suffer too much, then our game is going to get to the point where we're no longer going to be valuable. So when we communicate, we're going to explain today just what is the communication. So the importance of the communication. So being able to prevent shots and goals, obviously, that's the biggest one. We want to be able to, can we prevent it? And how do we prevent it? So we talk. We got to make sure we mark up people. We got to make sure we tell them where to go, what to do. We need to be able to see their eyes. Oh, we went too fast, sorry. We're going back. Can you guys see that? Okay. So the communication increases our confidence, right? So if we're able to, the more that we are able to talk and the more that it's beneficial to our team, the better that the team will start to listen. The more the team starts to listen, the more confidence that we will gain because they're actually understanding what we want them to do. They do what we want them to do. And then in turn, hopefully, we become better as a goalkeeper and organizing the game because of it. So we're able to control the game tempo. What does that mean by the communication? So we're able to, if we do play the ball out, we could tell them no turn, to play it back, to switch it. If we want them to attack quicker, we could tell them to play it down the line. We could basically tell them to slow it down. So it's a lot of just the communication itself, maintaining the team shape. What does that mean for the communication? So again, we're always making sure that our back line, 3 or 4 or 5, whatever it may be, is always compact. We always look at all sides of the field, not just narrow-minded. We never try to look at one side of the field. We try to look at both sides of the field to make sure our weak side player is a little bit closer to us so that we keep what we call a game shape. So as we go through this, we're going to want to know what, the when, and the how of the communication. Right? So communicating doesn't become just overnight. So it happens with practice, and this is not going to happen just all of a sudden we go into a game, and obviously coaches always want us to say something and speak, and if we don't work on it in practice, and if we don't understand how to say it, then our team is going to not listen, and then we're going to be frustrated. The coach will be frustrated. And so what we want to try to be able to do is become a student of the game. Are we a student of the game to the point of, can we read the game 2 to 3 plays ahead of ourselves? That's going to be huge. Are you able to mimic what the coaches say in practice so that when you speak in the game and tell somebody to pressure, they've heard it before. When you tell somebody to cover, they've heard it before. And when you tell somebody to keep our balance, they've heard it. And so we mimic what the coaches say so that it's easier for us to have a smooth transition to what we want them to do. When we talk about the results of good communication, so it establishes the goalkeeper as a leader. So what does that mean? So as you get older, many of us that are older, some of us that are young in here, but there's many of us that are older, you have to be the leader in the goalkeeping, right? So as we look into the starting to become college level, that's what they look for. They want to know, do they have a leader? Do they have someone that has that presence? The more that you speak to your players knowledgeably in a way that they could trust you, the more they will trust you. And the more they'll be willing to follow you. And once they follow you, then again, you've established that leader concept. So it's huge to make sure that the result of a good communication is the actual becoming the leader. It makes the games more predictable. If you have people organized, marked up for like crossing situations or any other type of situation, because you know likely where the ball is going to come into, then there's no surprises. Everyone's already in their area. Everyone knows their roles, and we're set. And now the game becomes predictable. I know if the ball is going to be crossed, it has to come to the middle. Once the ball comes in the middle, I've already organized it, and there it goes. It comes to the top of the 6. I'm able to talk, say what I need to say, or go get it. Everyone's safe. Everyone's set. Everyone feels better. So it becomes predictable. We already know what's going to happen, and it does happen. So, and on that, organized and balanced, like we talked about, it's just keeping everybody in a good defensive shape. You want to be prepared when they're in their zones. So when the ball actually does come into that zone, they can deal with it, and there's no surprises. So the better that we're organized and balanced, then the better we are. And obviously, once we are able to communicate that correctly and knowledgeable, not just telling people to go in places, but to actually have a reason for it, then would be set. Next one, the team is organized. So to go into that, sorry, is that when we prevent counterattack. So what does it mean to prevent a counterattack? So if we're able to organize enough and get people back early and start to recognize that if we have 2 people up top, do we want to make sure we have 3 covering? Do we want to make sure that our outside midfielder on the weak side starts to shift back in when we know that they're not going to be in the play so we don't get counterattacked? Are we able, that way we will be able to take up less chances and least amount of goals. So the more and more that we're able to be organized, the less you're going to see about that. And the last thing is this is the longevity. So when we communicate correctly, you know, then obviously we'll have better position in our players, the less chances the shots will happen. And the less chances the shots happen, the less chance that we have to make a huge save. And if we have to make huge saves more and more, then there's more times that we are risking injury because the ground doesn't feel good, especially if you play more and more years. And so the more that you're able to communicate correctly, organize people, the less you're going to have to make those huge saves. In all, it's going to prolong your career because you're going to probably be able to play longer because you're not going to be as banged up. So communicating itself is huge, and being able to become a good communicator is going to be a big part of our game. So with that being said, well, we're on our intro of it. What we're going to do is we're going to put you guys into little rooms, right? And so what you're going to see, let me go into our little pointer. What you're going to be able to see is we're going to have you go into a group assignment, and you're going to have to explain to me about the defensive third, about defensive communicating, the middle third, how to communicate, attacking third, attacking commands of communication, the direct commands of communication, attacking third in the communication, how do we communicate with the passbacks, how do we communicate with in-game crossing, and then how do we communicate with defensive set plays. So if you look at it, you'll see that we're going to create the breakout rooms, and you're going to discuss. Some of you will have 2 questions, some of you only will have 1, depending on how lengthy I felt that the answer is going to be. As we go into these rooms, you'll be unmuted. You'll be able to talk. You'll be able to see each other if you guys are on that. What I'll need from you is someone's going to have to take the lead. Someone should be writing down what you guys are going to talk about, and then someone's going to have to be prepared to speak about that. Right now, if you guys would rather just be kind of a passive participant and listen and just put in a few things here and there, then that's fine. But I'd rather you guys participate as much as you can, but again, don't feel like you have to. And hopefully your group has people they'll take charge and speak, since this is a communication part. I am unmuting all of you, so hopefully it's not crazy in there.
The car over there.
So give me a second while we assign people. You will be assigned.
No.
Why would I even write that?
Alex, no.
You have to unmute yourselves. Okay. All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you guys are in your room, you guys are going to be doing the defensive third and defensive commands. Can you guys still see the other screen?
What other screen?
The green screen, that show the groups. Are you able to see that or no?
No.
No.
Okay. Okay. So then what I want you guys to do in your group is you're going to discuss the defensive commands. What are they? So give examples of defensive commands, and then you're going to give example of how do you speak in the defensive third of the field. So does someone write that down?
That's gonna go.
What's up? Aiden, do you have a question?
No, sorry.
No.
No.
Okay. All right. So I'm leaving the room so you guys can discuss it, and then I'll come back. So again, you should be doing the defensive third, how you can communicate in the defensive third, and then also give me all the defensive commands.
that I say. So I try to tell them
Can you guys
who's
hear me?
open.
This is Jeff. Okay. So what are you guys doing right now?
We were talking about like attacking commands and the things we say to our midfielders.
Okay. So what I want you guys to do for me now is just work on what the middle third, the commands that you'll be doing in the middle third, and then obviously then the attacking command. So just make sure you're doing those two. All right. Make sense?
Yeah.
Can everybody talk? Everyone's unmuted, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So make sure we figure it out, talk about it. Someone should be writing that down, and then we will join back in. You probably have another 12, 15 minutes. All right?
I think we're done.
Yeah, I mean, we
I
can.
started to record.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I can hear me. Wait, I don't have an option to go see. No, I don't need to. There's a chat.
Yeah,
There you go.
I don't think we can because we can only text to our group. Oh yeah, I see Jack. Okay, he's
Yeah.
Okay, what's up? How are you guys doing here? What happened?
here. We think we finished.
You already talked about the direct commands and the attacking third? Both of them?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Perfect. So let me make sure the other ones are done, and then we'll come back.
Okay.
How are we doing here? Is everybody unmuted?
Yeah.
Are you guys finished already?
No, we haven't started.
Oh, okay.
Because weren't you supposed to give us a question?
Yeah, so I wasn't sure if you could see so you guys were doing the pass back. Did you see that part?
No.
Oh, you can't see it. Okay. That's weird. Everybody else can see it. You guys can't see it. Okay, so what I wanted you guys to come up with is just the communication when dealing with the pass back.
Yeah.
So basically when you're dealing with the pass back, you're gonna just come up and give us prior to the pass, once you've received the pass, and then after you get rid of the ball. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so let me make sure that the other group was able to see it, and then I will get back to you guys.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
So is everyone unmuted?
Almost everyone. Yeah.
Hey, Coach Jeff.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Were you guys able to find what you're supposed to be doing or no?
Kind of.
We just
Kind
kind
of,
of picked
okay.
something and went.
Okay, were you guys talking about it?
We were basically just saying like communication words for your defensive third.
Yeah.
So what I wanted you guys, so if you guys could come up with the in-game crosses, so how you would communicate during the in-game cross. So
Okay.
the full protocol. So from basically from the middle third all the way down into the defensive third until it happens. So just come up with ideas of that, like a scenario. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I'll bring you guys back in probably like another 5-6 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
You want to go back into which room?
Defensive set pieces. I think that's what it was.
Is that where you were?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was defensive set something. So I'm guessing it was set pieces.
All right. Hey, what's up, Coach?
Not much, man. How you doing?
They're all in different rooms right now. Zeus, who's Zeus Garcia?
I don't know. That's one of yours. It's not one of mine.
I don't hear him. He's not responding to us.
He hasn't said anything.
Oh well. Okay.
How
All the
many
kids
rooms
are
do you
in. They're in 6 different rooms right now.
have? And what are they doing?
So each room has a command that they're working on. One's doing like defensive thirds, how to speak in defensive third, and
Mhm.
defensive commands. Another one's in the middle third, and attacking commands. Another one's direct commands and the attacking third. The other one's dealing with back pass communication. Another one's doing in-cross game communication, and another one's doing set play communication. Do you want to go to one?
How long are they going to be in there?
Not very much longer. They've been in there for a little bit, so I was going to pull out some of them. Probably another 5 minutes.
And then and then trading off to a different room after that?
No, so then they'll come back and we'll discuss everything. So I'll tell them exactly what it is, but I'm going to give them the opportunity they all have a lead and a communication person that'll speak their part on what they discuss in the room, and then we'll discuss it as the whole group, and I'll explain to them exactly what I expect in all those commands and all the thirds, and that's what we'll go through everything.
Okay, cool.
I'll just throw you in. Go into the defensive set plays for me. Tell me what they do. See what they're doing. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
There you go. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I put them all in separate rooms, and they're working on something right now, and then I'm bringing them all back in. So in the next minute, they'll all come back into our presentation.
Jeff, is there any way to get are you recording this? Is there any way to get a recorded version of this from you?
Yes, it is being recorded.
Okay.
And I'm gonna send it to, yes, so I'll send it to people.
All right, that's awesome. I didn't know he couldn't hear. I threw the headset on him and thought he could hear, but he couldn't. Oh, sorry.
Oh no. Okay.
All right.
Okay, so he's good now though, right?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So yeah, all he missed really was I let them all kind of do it on their own, and then I'm gonna bring everyone back, and I'm actually gonna break it all down and explain it all. But
right.
So
Awesome.
he didn't really miss much. So okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Okay, once everybody's back, we will start. There's people still in. They only have 10 seconds. Then they're gonna get kicked out anyway.
Not really Pick it all up. Hey, stand up and walk. Pick up your mess.
All right. So we all back. We should all be back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So for my group that did the first one, the defensive third, do we have somebody that actually is going to speak on that? Do we figure that out?
It's not mine.
Is that the same as the defensive commands?
So it'll be I need for the defensive third and the defensive commands group. Yeah. So who is leading that group?
We basically just talked about mainly the defensive commands are keeper, away, pressure, cover, balance, step up, drop back, telling a specific player to mark up a specific attacker, and we're telling people also like for corners in that situation, like go front post, mark this player, or like play the zone.
Okay. So on defensive commands, and you're talking about what you did on the defensive third, right? Okay.
And you can also tell them like shifts and stuff.
Okay. Good. Who was my group that talked about first, how do you communicate in the middle third, and then tell me what it means to have the attacking commands?
So yes, we talked mostly about like what some of the attacking commands we used were. Or like what we would tell our midfielders. So like if they had the ball, like turn, went on, like if somebody was pressuring them, how much time they had, who else was open, which direction they could go, runs other people were making, that sort of thing.
Okay. Good. Anybody else? Nothing. You were the lead on that one, so you spoke on that one.
Yeah.
And then who was what else did you have for the attacking commands? Anything else?
No, not.
That was all? Pretty much it? Okay. That's fine. Just making sure. Who was doing my direct command?
So basically, yeah, we did direct commands and then when communicating to forwards. So basically what we talked about is how when we're talking about direct commands, we're talking about two specific players or doing specific actions. So we're talking about specifically in the forward side of things, we'd tell them to turn, or we'd tell them man on, or we'd tell our whole line press, or get the ball out clear, shift, drop, and all that stuff. And then when we're talking about in the attacking third, we're talking about shooting, passing, pass the ball, man on, hold up the play, through balls, and then communicate to players and make adjustments on that side of the field.
Good. And then, so that was for Wolf. Okay. You went to the attacking third also. And then next people, defensive on the pass back. So your job, like I explained to you in your group, was how you would speak or what you would do prior to the pass, once you receive the pass, and then after you got rid of the ball. Who's leading that?
I can.
Okay.
When we were talking about prior to the pass, we talked about like communicate to the person passing to you, like where you want them to pass it, like what foot, and how hard you want it passed to you.
Good.
During the pass, we talked about like you want to have an idea of what to do with it. Make sure you're take time if you have it. Like make sure you're finding the best possible pass to advance your team up the field. And after the pass, we said tell them where the space is and what options they have available to them.
Good. All right, well done. And then my in-game crossing group, you guys had the hard one.
Yeah.
So there it is. So give me a scenario or however you guys worded it.
So we said that in the midfield, potential through ball to the corner where they could cross it. We said tell them to step or force them to the outside, that sort of stuff. And then if they just get to on their own and then they cross it, we said some commands that you could say were keeper, away, even no cross, goal side, front side, back side, and then mark people in the middle.
Okay, good. And then my last group, my defensive set play. So you guys had actually a hard one too. Were you guys able, what I wanted you guys to kind of do, which I didn't get to explain too much, but I'm going to explain it so that way it's easier to see on the board. But when you have a defensive set plays, what are some of the things you guys are actually going to bring up to your team, communication-wise? Who's in charge of that one? Oh.
Come on, boys. Think
Anybody?
of something.
Xander, what do you got?
What?
What do you have?
Well, I don't I didn't even know that you assigned us anything. I thought we had to
Oh, you didn't
choose
get.
two.
Oh, okay. What you guys? So you guys chose something different?
I mean, yeah, but others already talked about what we did, so.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's fine. Because we'll go over this one in a little bit then. So that's fine. All right. So basically, what we did on the room is just to try to give you guys a chance to discuss things with the communication on your own. A lot of times, what we need to start to understand and learn is that if you're able to communicate it to others and teach others, that means you've pretty much mastered it and you know what you're doing. And so the better that you're able to explain it to other people and then eventually explain it to me, it means that hopefully it sticks, or to get to the point where we understand that there needs to be a universal language. And by listening to a lot of you guys are definitely on the right track. But I'm going to explain to you kind of now exactly what we're looking at. So when we talk about the defensive thirds, communication, so those of you that have pen, paper, pencils, whatever, writing, this is probably the stuff that you want to look into and write down. So when you're looking at defensive third, we all understand that defensive third is the third that is closest to us as the goalkeepers. We should be making sure that we're organizing our fullbacks, definitely at this point in time, making sure that the weak side player, which is the side without the ball, okay, they're balanced, they're tucked in, they've gotten into their position. If the ball is central, then we want to make sure the team is compact, and we want to make sure that they keep in their roles. So when we talk about pressure, cover, balance, hopefully we've all heard that from our field player coaches. And if you haven't, then you guys need to really start listening, because that is a universal term that all coaches use. And when we're in the goal, we are the coach, so it makes sense that we are able to mimic that. So pressure, obviously, meaning stepping to the ball. Covering would be the second defender. If I notice that the second defender is not close enough to the ball, I should be able to just say cover, and right away it should click in their head that they should be stepped over closer to the ball, because that's what their coach talks about. If I'm looking at my outside back or my weak side outside flank player, and I'm telling them to get more balance, they should have an idea what that means, and they should shift over. So in this sense, it helps that if we can continue to speak in a universal term with what our coaches state and with what us as goalkeeper coaches state, then we could all be on the same page a lot easier. When the ball is down the flanks, you just want to make sure, again, that your team is balanced and you're aware of what could happen. Oh, someone did my screen. You want to remind them to keep the pressure and stay with their marks, and then the high number of defensive commands will always apply, and for the defensive commands will apply in the third. So when we talk about the defensive third commands, and we'll say that in a second, so you'll see that our defensive commands. So defensive command, I think we stated it mainly as man on, step, pressure, watch left, watch right, whatever it might be, mark left, mark right, whoever you're talking to, you're going to tell them to cover, you're going to tell them to give balance. Those are defensive commands. So when you're the defensive third, you're more likely to give those commands, but it doesn't mean it has to be in the defensive third. So defensive command means I'm on defense, we don't have the ball, we want to make sure everyone has an idea of how they should be defensively sanctioned and how they should be in their shape. My middle third, communication. So organize the fullbacks once again. So just so we're all on the same page, hopefully we all know where the thirds of the field are, right? I'm hoping you guys listen to your coaches at some point. I will make it for you just in case, so I feel better about myself. You guys see that? There you go. That's our middle third, right? So we want to make sure we're checking the weak side player. So if the ball is on this side, we're always looking at our weak side player to make sure that our weak side players have actually given us balance, continue to be compact so that we aren't surprised when the ball gets down to this point and crosses. Okay, so we're making sure that we're already in the middle third, creating the communication. When we talk about keeping the line high and low, once again, that's something that coaches speak on. how high are they going to pressure? Are they going to wait for everyone to get past this line and then start pressuring here? Are they going to pressure higher into this point? So it's different from each one of your teams. But again, if the coach asks for it, it's expected that you guys better speak up and talk about it. If the ball is played down the flanks, you're just wanting to make sure that your team is well balanced, like we talked about, and aware of what could happen. So like we just showed. So if you have your weak side player in a spot, can we make sure that they're getting to the area where they're balanced so that when the ball is and starts to come down to a crossing area, they've already got into a good space, and that if the ball does bounce out, they're able to deal with it. And again, we want to remind them to keep pressure and stay with their mark. So in the middle third, we're still having responsibility that we're still talking when we do not have the ball. So our attacking command. So whoever said the attacking commands, I think, yes, you did well. That was pretty much, now we do have the ball. And so once we have the ball, it makes sense for us to continue to speak so that we don't lose the ball. So we want to tell them to turn or no turn. We're telling them to play it back. We're telling them to play line, square. We're explaining them to switch it. We want to make sure that we're giving them as much information as possible so they don't lose the ball. And if they don't lose the ball, obviously, then we're safe and we could go and attack and try to score. So on the attacking commands, it's again, once we've transitioned and have the ball, we're still making sure that they're aware of what to do with it. So my direct command. So on the direct commands, these are only two. I think when we discussed the direct commands with the group, it was a little bit more generalized of a little of everything we just talked about. But in actuality, when we speak of it in the terms, the direct command is keeper. Basically, when the keeper knows they're going to get the ball, they should be saying keeper. And away. That's it. Direct commands are simple, keeper and away. There is no other words. It should be 100% of the time when that ball's in the area, I'm either saying that I want it or I'm saying I don't. So too many times the goalkeepers are quiet. You guys are quiet. There should always be this word or there should always be this word. There's never I go. There's no I got it. There's not you got it. It's just keeper or away. It's universal. We keep it simple. Every single player knows or needs to get to the point where they know that when I say that word, I'm coming to get it. When I'm saying this word, I'm not coming to get it. It's on you guys. So they're simple, they're direct, and that's why we call those the direct commands. Just get to the point where everyone understands it, everyone gets it, and we move on. What happened to my... So who had the attacking third command or the communication? Who spoke on that one? Do you guys remember who was the one that?
Yeah, I
Who's
did.
that?
I did.
You did? Okay. Okay, so then again on the attacking, in the attacking third, on what we're doing, what we're thinking about on the commands here, realistically is what we want to say. Oh, because I need to mute you guys. Is that we're realistically again we have our line. Oh, I have to go meet you guys. Hold on. All right. So now if the ball is now in the attacking third, so the goalkeeper's in here. Don't worry about my drawing. The attacking third is basically the ball somewhere in the attacking third. So too many times we have goalkeepers that just want to talk. And there's no reason for you to tell this player to shoot. There's no reason to tell this player to pass because you're 70 yards away. Your job is still to organize. So all you're doing at this point in time is making sure that, let's say, our center backs are organized. We're making sure that it's important that if our outside backs are attacking, that we have assessed it. We made sure we've communicated, because if they're playing, let's say, 3 in the back, or if they're playing 3 up top, then we don't want to get to the point where we're what we call numbers down. And so if we get to that situation, we would call this person back, making sure they understand, or making sure one of our defensive backs comes in. Right. So when we talk about the communication, the attacking third is not so much us giving direction on how to shoot a ball or how to cross the ball or how to pass the ball. It's just still making sure that everybody's organized here, making sure that if we do lose the ball in the attacking third, our people starting to come back and getting into the areas where we need them to. So it's not so much I'm just giving kudos and think I can tell them to shoot and they're going to listen. It's making sure we're all organized. Did somebody say something?
Mr.
Are we still?
No one
Yeah.
can see the screen right now that you're drawing.
Yeah, we can't see your screen.
You guys can't see it anymore?
I can't see it.
No, we can't see it.
No, I can't see the screen.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't able to from the start.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys should have told me. So you can't see anything at all on that screen?
No. Can't see your
No.
drawings and stuff.
Yeah, all we
You just
see
can't
is
see the drawings.
I can
No.
see the
all I
face
see is just your logo.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
see the logo.
the logo on like other people, but not the screen that you're drawing on.
Yeah.
See it again.
Oh,
There
there
we
you
go.
go.
Can
Yeah.
you see it?
Yeah, I can see it now. Thank you.
Oh, look, someone's drawing all over my screen. Because somehow I gave you guys control. Hold on. Don't anybody draw on my screen like that. Who's drawing on my screen? Okay, so sorry about that. Thanks for finally letting me stay in it. So you guys can see now my scribbles probably don't make sense because you guys didn't see the first part of it.
Give me a second. I'm going to write this down.
So you could write it. So
Yeah.
we move to the next one. Can you guys still see everything?
No, I can't.
You can?
I can't.
Yeah, I can.
It kicks me out of the thing. Like I can hear everyone, but I can't see anything.
I can see it.
Who said they can't see?
All right, now.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, everybody should be able to see.
I could.
Okay. Aaron, you still can't. Okay, so we can move on. So I think everyone can see, hopefully. Who keeps drawing on the screen, though? Okay. So now we can see everything again. Can you guys read the back half part of it?
Yeah.
Even though I know what planning for one way or the other for peaceful, I gotta find it because it's so dirty. Serio.
Gotta mute you guys again because everyone's still meeting. Okay. So now we talked about the back pass. Sorry about that little thing there. So well done by, I think, whoever was talking about the backpack communication. So that was well done. So it's basically we want to communicate so we can see everything, and we want to ask for it early. So it's very clear. We want to make sure everyone understands and hears us. Depending on your skill level, depending on your age, it's going to depend on how many times you really should be asking for the ball. If we're at a younger age, you're probably going to be continuing to talk and say ball, back, ball, whatever you're going to say continuously until that ball has actually left the foot and comes to you. You want to be able to show, you need to show visually show your hand, show your palm, whatever you're going to say, so that they can see it. If they do look up, you want to be able to, if you're older, then hopefully you should be able to say it maybe 1 or 2 times, and they should say it and do it. They should just give it to you by seeing you. And a lot of times when we're older, it's just more of the visual cues of seeing the person move over. You'll see the next one saying, stay away from calling the ball to a side. So for me, too many times I hear people will say, play me left, but we need to understand when you say play me left, the field player is not looking the same way you are. So you say play me left, the field player's left is actually your right. And so if they don't look up and they just play the ball to their right or their left, which is your right, that means you might have missed the ball and it might be in the back of the net. So just be aware that when you guys are calling out for a side, that you're not looking at the same way they are. So if they're not looking and they just hear you say play me left, then it's not a good idea. If they're looking and you could say it and you could talk, then go for it. Once the ball is played to you, then again, don't be afraid to show them where you want it, where you want them to go. And you need to make sure you're pointing. If you want them to be more square to you and come back closer to you, don't be afraid to actually tell them to get back. If it's during the play or if it's after the play, whatever it is, you need to make sure that you're still communicating so that you're able to get the ball back if needed or get the ball into safety. Can we see the next screen? I muted you guys, so you're gonna have to just do the chat. Okay. So when we talk about the in-game cross, so the communication needs to be early and very clear once again. Again, from in-game cross, what we're talking about, and I'm gonna show you on our little field. If for some reason you guys can't see it, then please tell me right away that you can't see it. So that when let's say the ball is in the middle third, again, we have our little middle third and it starts into the middle third and they're already going down in this area. We always have somebody that's going to be in the area that's going to be pressuring. Then we have our people cover and our balance is coming to this area, probably more in here. So at this point in time, we should already have an idea that if they continue, they're going to continue to go all the way down the line. Are we making sure that our back three are organized well enough to continue? Are we making sure that our outside back starts to go in and gives us more of that balance? Are we making sure that our weak side player is dropped in and make sure we're balanced? If we do play with defensive mids or play with 2 or 1 in the middle, are they dropping in? So we're already making sure and assessing that everyone's starting to drop in because we know what's going to happen. We know that eventually the ball is going to get all the way into this area, and at this point in time, it could be crossed. So you want to make sure that your back line is covered. You want to remind them all continuing of their marks. So once again, we go into what we call that defensive commands. So we're telling everybody to mark up. We're telling them, Joe, mark left, mark right, whoever their name is, and we're looking for it. We want to make sure the weak side is covered. We want to call back our defensive mids, like we said, our center middies, whoever we want to see then get into the spot that we know that if the ball goes into the area, they're going to deal with it. Too many times we want to just look at our defensive backs and we forget this about our midline. And our midline is just as important because if that ball bounces out and the second ball is what usually gets shot on us, we want to make sure everyone's organized. Then we want to make sure we call the keeper in the way. Again, you can't let the team assume that they know if it's going to be away or if it's going to be keeper. So we have to say it 100% of the time. And then after the crossing situation, then the communication happens. So what we wrote there and what we understand is that if I do say away, once again, that means you're getting the ball, your team's getting the ball. Once they do hit it away, now you're in that defensive command. You're telling them to step, you're telling them to pressure, you're telling them once they do win the ball, hopefully, now you're going into the attacking command. And once you get into the attacking command, now you can tell them to play it line, turn, or no turn, play it back, whatever the attacking command needs to be until the ball is situated, going back the other way into the attacking third. And then you finally are relaxing. You can go up, move up into your spaces, and hopefully relax for a little bit. Questions on that? Oh yeah, race. I got my thing to race. Hold on. Well, we'll figure it out in a second. So we go into the defensive set plays. Can you guys see the screen still?
Yes.
You're unmuted, so you can talk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Hey,
All
are
right.
you going to send this presentation to the kids?
Yes, this will all be. So those that can't write fast or
Oh,
type
geez,
fast.
Mizzy's here.
That's what I'm talking about.
Missy.
What's up,
You'll
boys
be
and
able to
girls?
you'll actually have it.
I'm just saying because I'm being mesmerized by Christian Vaccaro's LED lights in his room.
I can see him.
Why are you looking at my? Why are you looking at my lights?
I'm just being mesmerized.
I'm still trying to figure out why I can't erase this. It's like someone took over my screen.
Big brother watching you, bro.
I think so. Who keeps writing on my screen? Go ahead and fess up because it's not allowing me to erase.
Cambria.
What?
It's Cambria or Carson. Those kids are dodgy.
Oh, Missy, did you notice? I got my bangs cut.
Uh-oh, we lost the room. Now we're talking
Oh my
about
God, it
bangs being
changed.
cut.
Nice.
It did change.
I get my
We were
bangs
trying
cut
to
too,
see.
but it won't grow back.
Okay, so we're going to switch this real quick while I figure out why. Oh, it is. I figured out who has remote control. Dalton, you have control of the. That's why. How did you get control, Dalton?
No, I don't. It says at the
Well,
top you're viewing Jeff Tackett's screen.
I'm declining you now. So
That kid's a hacker. Come on.
It wasn't me.
we have a hacker in here.
It
I was
wasn't
like,
me.
how's that
Look,
working?
it's not me. My hands are in the air and that thing's moving.
Who just wrote that?
It's not me. My hands are in the air.
It's Mizzy. It's Mizzy. I know it's Mizzy.
It wasn't me.
Oh, it isn't.
Well,
No.
Who is that?
I'm gonna put you guys. I'm gonna send you guys to the whiteboard real quick. That way you can see what happened. Can you guys see the whiteboard?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Best
You
in
can see
the
me
street.
writing.
Yeah. Strong.
Stop.
Up.
Stop.
Okay, good. But I still haven't figured out who's control.
He's gotten out of hand.
Maybe it was Mizzy. Mizzy, did you somehow get control?
Negative.
We're waiting for Annalise. Annalise, why are you controlling my
I'm
my
not.
screen? It
No,
says I'm
maybe.
waiting for Annalise to control my screen.
It just, something popped up on my screen that said, you now have control.
It said okay.
Whoa.
Someone said,
Yeah, we're
someone
gonna
wrote okay.
abort that. Okay, I aborted that. You no longer have control.
Okay.
All right.
Annalise got all nervous. She's all nervous.
Should have let her take over.
Okay, they just wrote okay again.
Who?
All right. Well, let's go back. We're going back to the. Hopefully, you guys can't use this anymore. Can you guys see the screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
You can see it.
The screen. Yep.
Yeah. Communication.
All right,
for
we're back.
goalkeepers.
There we go. Nobody touch the screen.
Yes, sir.
Kids. Someone still has control because it won't allow me to erase anything. Okay, so now we're on defensive set plays. You guys will have more of this because you'll be able to have it. I will send this all into you so you can read it and see it. So when we talk about defensive set plays, we're actually going to go over this in the other slide. So who had defensive set plays? Did we have anybody do those? Which group did I have do defensive set plays? Nobody did, right? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Nobody did it.
Okay. So real quick, when we talk about defensive set plays, we just want to make sure that we're able to, if it's a corner kick, depending on how our coaches talk and how to set it up, if we're man marking or zonal, make sure we understand the difference between that. Man marking obviously sounds what it is. Everyone marks the man. If you're more in a zone, that means everyone marks their zone. Sometimes we have a mix of them, where you'll have people on the post, or you have people in the near post, and then you have the rest of the people marking. Oh, someone just wrote on my screen. So if we have a wall, once again, we want to make sure we're telling people how many are in the wall, to set up the wall. When we work on walls, how many of you guys actually work on walls? Any practices?
My team does.
How many have worked on the walls at least? How many have worked on set plays at least 3 times this year?
I did last
Anybody?
year.
I have.
I did.
I said
I've been
this
injured,
year.
so
So
I
from
did.
January until March, you guys have worked on setting up walls? Good. If you have, well done. If you haven't, then that sounds like most of you. You need to make sure we again have to know the rules. What's direct, what's indirect. How do we know if it's direct? You guys know?
Ref's arm
How do
points
you know if
towards
it's indirect?
the ref's arm's up.
The ref's hand is up. Straight up in the air is indirect. The hand is straight if the call is direct. So again, very important that we understand that, because if it's indirect and someone shoots the ball and no one touches it, technically, if you don't touch it, it's not a goal. If you touch it and it goes in, it's a goal. So communication is important even at that point, that you're making sure everyone's aware of what it is. You're still reminding everyone of the defensive commands. You're making sure you see that everyone's up, right? If it's a crossing set play, we'll show this in a little bit. You want to make sure you follow the protocol for a crossing set play. So remember that as we talk about it. And then you're still communicating by making sure you say keeper and away. Oh, who's writing on my screen right here? What is this?
Who did that? Hey, Jeff, someone said that some of them are muted.
They are muted?
Yeah, some of them are muted, and they said they wanted you to unmute them in the chat.
All participants are unmuted.
Thank you. I was muted and I couldn't unmute myself.
I couldn't unmute
Oh.
myself.
Muted myself. Yeah.
I'm sorry for you feel like you were, whoa,
Again?
who's,
Me either.
okay. So,
I figured out how to draw, but I'm not gonna do it.
yeah, so we want to look at, who's drawing again?
Gosh, this is insane.
Bro.
Who are my
hot.
people drawing?
Not me.
It has to be Mizzy. Mizzy, is that you again?
My hands are in the air.
Who wrote not me? That is weird. No one has control. I'm so confused. You guys are scaring me right now.
I have the controls right now. I'm trying to erase everything that they're doing, but it's not letting me.
How do you have control?
No, no. Wait, hold on. I just erased something. If you go to the top, it should say viewing options. and if you press it and it says animate, or NOTAT, if you press it, then it gives you options. So like, I'll write the letter D right now,
Who did all that?
and that's where I got it from, and I'll erase it. You try to steal all my writing.
So erase all that, whoever did that. Not really sure how. Let me.
Oh, it just ended. I can't do it anymore.
Okay, erase. Nobody did all that. Who's doing all the scribbling? There we go. Okay. Now I can disable you.
Finally.
Wow. Now I know next time not to allow you guys to have the annotation device up. So
Someone
if we're
they can't.
well, we're talking about. I'm meeting you guys. When we're talking about free kicks and how to communicate off the free kick off of a crossing scenario. Okay, so again, he's out here and ready for the cross. You notice in this point in time, it's a mess. Okay, you see where the target area is. What's wrong with this situation? Go ahead, I'll unmute you guys. What will we fix
Thank
here?
you. It wouldn't let me
Thank
unmute
you.
myself. Every time I click mute after, it just says that you muted all of us, but it's only me.
I just muted you guys. So what's wrong with this picture?
The goalie's in the
The
wrong
goal-
position.
The goal is in the one side of the goal open.
Okay.
There's no one in the hole.
Those,
There's an
It's different.
yeah, that actually was my writing. So
Another
yes.
goal.
So as we go through a protocol, when we have a crossing situation, right away we want to put people on the wall. Okay,
Yeah,
so
maybe
we
a
put
couple
people
more.
on the wall. No matter what, we want to put people on the wall. I'm muting you guys because you talk too much. When we put, you want to put the two people on the wall for the point where you're able to actually step a little higher off your line and into what we call the target area. This is where they want to play the ball. Okay. What we see was wrong here is that if you allow your defenders to stay inside the 18, then that means the attackers are going to be inside the 18, which means you're going to have this mess. All right. So once again, you got to make sure we push everybody up. You want to always have them even with the wall or at least to the 18. All right, so we could, at that time, we were able to push them. Everyone gets to the 18. We use that as a landmark. Okay, it's easy to explain to people to move up to the 18 instead of just telling people to move up. If I tell my defenders to move up and they've been playing for 80 minutes, I guarantee you they're going to move up 2 steps. I need you to move up to the 18. If the wall was for some reason inside the 18, then we would tell everybody to move up to the wall, if that makes sense. Once we do that on the protocol, we have our wall, we have everyone moved up to the 18. The last thing that we want to make sure happens, especially in the crossing area, is that this person, right? So we want to make sure somebody is in that near post area always, and not to the point where they're marking somebody, but they should just be there. Their job is that they take away anything that's hit hard to the near post, anything that's hit on the ground, and they force the ball to go up and over the wall and up and over this person. So now if it goes into the crossing area, that's where we're allowed to use our hands. Hopefully we go out, we're able to use it in our hands. So when we're thinking about the communication for the protocol on set place, it's very important that we, number one, make sure we get a wall set up somewhat, make sure we push everybody to the 18 or as high up as the wall as possible, and then make sure we have someone in that near post area so that they can't play that short or that driven ball. And now, after that's all set up, it allows us to step higher off our line. If we can stay higher off our line, closer to the target area, now it's going to force the server to either play a ball a lot deeper, closer to where we want them to, instead of into this area. If he still or she still plays it into the target area, we're close enough that we should be able to deal with it. So again, communication off the set plays, and we do a whole entire, we're doing that next week, a whole entire set play thing where we would talk about every single wall and every single set play issue. Oops, we went too fast. I'm unmuting you so you guys can explain. So any questions on that?
I have a question. Mizzy has a question.
Oh, good. Yes, Mizzy.
Because we have a variety of different age group kids, the position of the goalkeeper in gold does not particularly mean you should be that high off of your line if you can't drop and cover the crossbar from a high floater that some little kid's going to think they're going to chip you from there. So for the younger goalkeepers, you're probably not going to be on the 6-yard box. You're probably going to be on the 4-yard line. It's probably going to be a good step and a half behind that line. Does that make sense?
Right.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like the older kids, 15 and up, about 5 to 6 yard box, depending on how mobile you are. Because your positioning also, if I can add a point, your positioning also will help determine the decision of what the player on the ball, the guy serving it or the girl serving it, will do. Does that make sense?
Right.
So if you go higher, if the goalkeeper goes higher, then you're going to force that player who's serving the ball, you're going to force them to possibly play it closer to your defenders, making it easier for your defending team, your defenders, to clear the ball away.
When you say
If
forcing
you
them, are
play
you talking
on
about?
your line, then you're going to invite that player to have more confidence to drop it on the PK spot because they're going to go, wow, look how much space there is. And the forwards and the offensive players are going to think the same thing.
When you say forcing them, are you talking
Does that
about
make sense? So
younger?
understand, keepers, that where you position yourself will also help determine where the player who's serving the ball, what they think they can get away with. Right? So just a little food for thought is all. Okay? Just a little food for thought.
Right. Well done. Well said. So yeah, so this slide is actually used usually for my free kick, defensive free kick little presentation. And what he's doing right now, and what I didn't state, is that what we call this is an invisible goalkeeping. So what that means is that he's standing here as everything's setting up, but doesn't necessarily mean he's going to stay here. Maybe, like Mizzy just said, the person on the ball sees that they're that high, so they know they have to play it a lot closer to the 18. Where once you know that the ball is about to be hit, you could drop off maybe 2 yards or so quickly into more of a comfort zone and then deal with it. If you feel that you can stay high enough, then definitely go up. But that's the whole point of it. We all see that the target area, this is where they want to play the ball. So we can step into that area. We're just saying, if they see it, does that force them, like Mizzy just said, will that force them to play it here? And so that's huge for us on our positioning for the older kids. Younger kids, again, as long as you're around inside not on your goal line, then I think you're doing well. You guys have questions on that?
Yeah, I have a question.
Can I make a point?
Could you split the
Oh, go
wall
ahead, go ahead.
like a little?
Say that again?
Could you split the wall a little? Like to create more of an angle that to force them into?
You mean have them be split this way? So one more here and one more stay here?
No, the player on the left moves a little bit more to the left. So the crosser is forced to cross a little bit wider.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I mean, my people aren't to scale, but you mean maybe moving them a little bit closer here? Because technically they're a little off, yeah. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Yeah, realistically, you're trying to put 2 on the wall. A lot of this is, again, this is a preference. I'd say put 2 on the wall. A lot of coaches will not want 2 on the wall. The only reason we put 2 on the wall, if we could get away with it, is because it allows us to be able to not have to deal with this area as much, so that we could stand into this area more, if that makes sense. But yeah, no, this is not to scale, so you're correct. Christian, did you have something? Was that you that said something? Who else? Did somebody else say they had something to say? No? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can hear you.
Okay. Who was the one that said that they had something else? Nobody?
Some of the
I
kids
do.
are
Oh,
muted.
they're muted. How are you muted? Okay, try it.
Okay. So
Okay.
I want to make a point. If I could, can I make a point real quick?
Sure. Do you want control?
Nah, I just wanted to say something. So I know I'm not the oldest one here. I don't have that much experience, but when it comes to goalkeeping, especially with crosses, from you have to come and find out, like, reading the game intensely. So if they're having a lot of free kicks, then you kind of know where they want the ball. You kind of have to read into that, and that's what I try and do, and I try and read into where they tend to play the ball, or where people generally try to play the ball, so that you know what to expect, and you're not caught. That's what I just want to say. But it comes down to experience in the end.
Right. So, again, what he's saying is the more and more you know of how they play balls in here and what they're trying to do, and a lot of times that comes with experience of in the game itself. You know, if they've already had maybe 2 or 3 crossing areas and they're trying to play balls always in the far post, then you might be able to attack that way. If you know they're always whipping in low, then you actually might be shifted a little bit closer. So depending on what the game is predicted, that is one thing. And again, if you know your opponent well enough, then that is another way that you're able to approach the game. So the more and more that we
Still
learn,
muted.
some people are still muted.
Yeah.
Are you still
Okay.
muted?
Do you guys actually, as in, do you want to say something?
No, some people are like still muted. They're saying that in the chat.
Okay. I see it.
Okay.
Who needs to say something? Because you guys are saying you're muted. Charlotte, do you have to say something?
No. I wasn't muted.
You were, oh, okay. It says, please unmute. What time was it supposed to end? It'll end shortly.
7:30.
Yeah. So we had writing on the board.
It's almost 7:30.
Okay, good. We had writing on the board issues. If we didn't have the writing on the board issues, we would have been done at 7:30. Okay.
I told them it didn't matter, more learning.
We are coming to the end. So we have questions? I do. Who's still writing on my board?
Oh my
How
gosh.
is this even possible?
Who is doing that?
Not me.
Are you sure, Mizzy?
Not me.
I like the arrow, though. I like the arrow. That was good. Look, Dalton, you still have You still have control.
No, I don't. It's a request, not controls.
That's what all hackers say.
Yeah. This kid, I'm not approving you, Dalton.
Okay.
All right. Other than that, we need to watch out for Dalton in the future because he obviously has some special skills. So watch out for him.
I win every
Other than
Fortnite
that,
game. Hacking.
thank you guys for coming out for the communication that allowed me to now I get to see all the bugs where I could not allow anybody to have any remote access at all, and so that you guys can never write on my screen next time. That helps out.
What about me?
Glad we could be the beta test.
I appreciate that because I still have Dalton trying to approve that he can take control for some reason. So, all right. Well, thank you guys. If you have questions, I think I have everyone's email, so I will send it out. Mizzy, I'm just going to send it to you.
Yeah.
So you can get the rest. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys. It's
Thanks,
7:30.
guys.
So now you can go. Now you can go.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank
you guys.
Bye.
Thank
you.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Miz.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Jeff.
Bye.
Dad.